You're waiting for a ride home after a long day. The city hums around you, a familiar symphony of traffic and distant chatter. You just want to kick off your shoes, maybe grab a late dinner. You're tired, you're distracted. You're just like anyone else, standing on the side of a busy road, flagging down the next available ride. Then things get weird. You see it coming from a distance. A Jeepney, its headlights cutting through the twilight. It looks like any other, maybe a bit older, the chrome horses on the hood catching the last rays of sun. The signboard is simple, handwritten with your route. It pulls over with a gentle hiss of its brakes. You climb aboard, thankful the wait is over. The fare is passed hand to hand, a quiet chain of strangers. You find a seat, settle in, and pull out your phone. The city lights begin to blur past the window. But this isn't just any ride. This is a ride on the Jeepney that never arrives. It's a story whispered from one commuter to another, a modern ghost story born on the asphalt arteries of the city. Passengers swear they boarded it. They remember the feel of the vinyl seats, the clink of coins being passed to the driver, the familiar rumble of the engine. They recall looking out the window, watching familiar landmarks pass by. The corner store, the old church, the bridge over the river. They were on their way home. And then, they weren't. One account comes from a student. Let's call him Marco. He was heading home late after a study session. He said the Jeepney was oddly quiet. The other passengers stared straight ahead, their faces blank, unmoving. He thought it was strange, but chalked it up to everyone being tired. He paid his fare, announcing his stop. Para po. The driver, a silhouette against the windshield, gave no sign of hearing him. Marco watched his usual corner approach, the one with the brightly lit bakery. He got ready to get off. But the Jeepney didn't slow down. It just kept going, rolling past his stop, past the next one, and the one after that. He called out again, louder this time. Boss, para po. Still nothing. A cold knot of panic tightened in his stomach. He looked at the other passengers for help, but they remained still, like mannequins in a store window. The city he knew was dissolving into unfamiliar streets, dark and empty. The last thing he remembers is a profound, bone-deep cold, and the feeling of falling, before he found himself standing on a completely different street, miles from his home, with no memory of how he got there. The Jeepney was gone. This isn't an isolated incident. Similar stories have surfaced for years, each with its own chilling variations. A woman recalls the route sign changing mid-journey, the familiar destination replaced with illegible symbols. Another man swears the windows were blacked out from the inside, and the only light came from a single dim red bulb swinging from the ceiling. They all share a common thread, a normal commute that veers into the impossible, ending with the passenger disoriented and stranded hours later in a place they don't recognize. There's never any proof. No ticket, no receipt. Just a gap in time and a story that sounds like a bad dream. It's almost as if they stepped onto a vehicle that momentarily detached from our world. A ghost ship navigating the concrete rivers of the metropolis. These tales tap into a primal fear, a type of urban legend that spans cultures and continents. The idea of vehicles between worlds is not new. Think of the ghost trains that are said to run on abandoned tracks, or the phantom black cars that haunt lonely highways. These are vessels for the lost, the wandering, the souls caught in a loop. The Phantom Jeepney is our version of that legend, a uniquely Filipino iteration of a journey to nowhere. It represents a loss of control in the most mundane of settings. We trust these vehicles every day. We place our safety in the hands of a driver we've never met on a route we assume is fixed. But what if that trust is misplaced? What if the route isn't fixed at all? So what is really happening here? Is it a simple glitch in the commute? A collective misremembering fueled by exhaustion and the dim, hypnotic lights of a city at night? Perhaps it's a case of people falling asleep and missing their stop. their confused minds fabricating a more sinister explanation to fill the blanks. Or is it something darker? Are these people accidentally boarding a vessel that isn't meant for the living? A transport service for spirits, making its nightly rounds, and occasionally, a mortal passenger climbs aboard by mistake. Is the driver a lost soul, forever condemned to drive the same route, never reaching his own final destination? The theory poses a chilling question. When you flag down a ride in the dead of night, how can you be sure who or what is behind the wheel? The stories continue to circulate, passed down in hushed tones, a cautionary tale for the everyday commuter. They serve as a stark reminder that beneath the surface of our normal, predictable lives, there are things we cannot explain. The world is full of thin places, where the veil between what we know and what we don't is easily torn. Maybe one of those thin places is the worn-out vinyl seat of a jeepney, rattling down a dark road, late at night. It's a terrifying thought. The idea that your journey home, a trip you've made 1,000 times, could suddenly become a journey into the unknown. So the next time you're out late, waiting under a flickering street lamp, and you see a lone pair of headlights approaching, take a closer look. Check the faces of the other passengers. Look into the eyes of the driver. You're just trying to get home. You're tired. You're not really paying attention. You just want the ride to be over. But maybe, just maybe, this is the one that never will be.